Live, local, late breaking. This is KEZI 9 News Midday.
And good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning for KEZI 9 News Midday. I'm Matt Templeman in for Adam Miranda. And let's get to a first check on our Storm Tracker 9 forecast with meteorologist Holden LaCroix. Holden?
Now, your Storm Tracker 9 First Alert Forecast with meteorologist Holden LaCroix.
Again, believe it or not, the same area of low pressure from yesterday is going to bring us another round of precipitation later on this evening. We're already starting to see that activity pick up towards midday, but we have the low pressure now and then yet another one for moving forward towards Saturday. That's going to bring us another round of very similar precipitation, which as a result will translate to heavy snow up across pass level at 4,000 feet. So towards this evening, I know this morning we had relatively calm conditions, but the evening commute we are expecting heavier widespread rain kind of really across the Willamette Valley. We get a break on Friday, but another round of moisture set to move in on Saturday. And again, Saturday's storm is very similar to what we are having today. So across the passes, the big story is going to be the heavy snow. Make sure you have that high profile vehicle, and really the best day to kind of get out towards Central Oregon is going to be on Friday before more precipitation arrives on Saturday. So here's a look toward the course of this evening. Notice around 5:30, heavy rain really infiltrating much of I-5, and that does translate to heavy snow up across the passes. But look, as we move towards Friday, there is even the possibility of a few sun breaks tomorrow evening. But the big story is that heavier rain offshore, and that is set to move in as we approach the weekend, especially on Saturday.
All right, Holden, thank you very much. Parents in the Veneta area are demanding accountability after an 8th grader was attacked by a dog on school property. Now, that attack sent the girl to the hospital needing 5 stitches in her face. The parents of 8th grader Chloe Bartram say she was walking with her friend late Tuesday afternoon to the local middle school. As she cut through elementary school grounds, a dog escaped its leash and attacked her. Her parents say after the dog was pulled away by her friend, the owner came and put a muzzle on the dog and then walked away. Chloe was taken to the hospital where she received 5 stitches on her face and at least 1 staple on her head. Chloe's parents say they don't want this to happen to any other children.
The dog's mouth was big enough to bite through here and then on the top of her head. So it was like the whole mouth was over her head. We're just kind of relying on the community to help us find the person, and at least they can acknowledge and go forward with not letting any other kids get injured.
Now, another parent in the community says Chloe is not the only one to have had a dangerous encounter with this specific dog. That parent says her daughter was bit back in November by the same dog.
I was picking my daughter up from school back in November, and as she was walking out towards me, and this was after school was released, the dog lunged out at her and got her on the arm and left bruising on her left arm.
The dog's mouth was big enough to bite through here and then on the top of her head. So it was like the whole mouth was over her head.
Leaders with the Fern Ridge School District say dogs are not allowed on school property, but parents say that hasn't stopped this dog owner from bringing the dog around. Chloe's parents filed a police report. They say they just want the owner to be held accountable and keep the dog away from children so it doesn't happen again. We have new information on Dr. Matthew Byrne. Former clients are speaking out after they say they didn't get any notice that Dr. Byrne's Eugene clinic was shutting down, and many of these clients say they already had prepaid thousands of dollars in procedures they didn't end up getting. Now, the doctor, who worked for Pacific Northwest Implant Studio, is now a teacher at Lane Community College in Eugene. LCC officials say they didn't know about Dr. Byrne's alleged involvement in the sudden closure of the clinic. Dentist Gillette couldn't believe it when he found out. Again, his former dentist, Dr. Byrne, is now working with LCC, and Gillette wants something to be done because his dental work isn't complete and he's missing out not only thousands of dollars, but also his patient records.
I'm going to need those records to take to some dentist. And so she gave me an email address to get my records, and I did it that same day, and I've not heard diddly squat or got anything in the mail or anything.
Gillette hopes others come forward in regards to this situation. And a crime alert, a Marshville High School teacher is now facing sex abuse charges involving a student. Coos Bay police say they started investigating last Wednesday. And according to the school's website, 45-year-old Jeremy Berger teaches math. The district has removed him from campus and put him on administrative leave. Police arrested Berger on Wednesday on 5 counts of second-degree sex abuse, official misconduct, and luring a minor. The Coos Bay School District says while they cannot comment on the situation, their goal is to keep students safe and they have no tolerance for this type of behavior. In Myrtle Creek, a man is accused of sexually abusing 2 children, and this is not the first time. 10 years earlier, he faced similar charges. 36-year-old Jeffrey McAmis is being held on $2 million bail. According to court documents, an adult recognized the signs of abuse in one of the children because she had been abused by him for years when they were children. McAmis faced similar charges in 2013 and 2014, but both cases were dismissed, reportedly because he got a tattoo on a body part after the alleged abuse and the victim inaccurately described his body part. McAmis will be back in court Tuesday. Survivors of sexual violence or anyone in the community can access a new crisis and support chat line. The Eugene-based nonprofit Sexual Assault Support Services, or SAS, provides information about resources for survivors and those who support them, along with emotional support and validation for those actively needing someone to talk to about their experience. The chat line will be available online or over text and over the phone Wednesdays and Fridays from 1 until 5 p.m. You can find more information at sass-lane.org. A man is in jail accused of throwing a gallon-sized can of tar at a woman's head during an argument last month. Lane County Sheriff's deputies say 45-year-old Daniel Moore assaulted the woman on January 20th in the 77,000 block of Highway 99 in Cottage Grove, but when they arrived to investigate, he was nowhere to be found. Well, they finally found him Saturday, and he is facing a charge of 4th-degree assault. In Coos County, a woman has been cited for DUI and driving with a suspended license after crashing her car down a hill. On Wednesday night, deputies were called to a crash on Culver Lane just before 7 o'clock. When they found the car on the spot you see right there on your screen, the driver, 22-year-old Kaya Balani, was taken to the hospital there, Bay Area Hospital. No one else was involved in the crash, and investigators say they learned Balani was driving under the influence. Balani has been cited for driving while suspended and DUI. And in Lebanon, fire officials are warning you to check your smoke alarms after an early morning house fire about 2:30 this morning. Firefighters were called out to Butte Creek Road near Lebanon after a homeowner smelled something funny and a utility room filling with smoke and ash. When they got there, they learned the fire had put itself out because of lack of ventilation. They say a V-shaped burn on the wall helped them figure out where the fire started. They checked the rest of the home to see if the fire had spread. It had not. Firefighters say there was a smoke detector in the room, but it did not work. Continuing coverage on the deadly shooting in Kansas City as fans celebrated the Chiefs' big win. 3 people are now in police custody. 1 person was killed and nearly 24 others were wounded, including several children. ABC's Morgan Norwood has the latest.
A day of celebration in Kansas City turning to tragedy just as the parade celebrating the Chiefs' Super Bowl victory was coming to an end. Gunshots ringing out in a crowd of nearly 1 million people outside Union Station in Kansas City. The terrifying events unfolding Wednesday afternoon. Roughly 800 members of law enforcement were present, all rushing to the scene as police snipers scanned the crowd from rooftops.
We did everything to make this event as safe as possible. But so long as we have fools who will commit these types of acts, as long as we have their access to firearms with this level of capacity, then we may see incidents like this one.
Paul Contreras and Trey Filter seen in this video taking down a man believed to be a suspect as he attempted to run from the scene.
I mean, there was a lot of commotion. I could definitely tell that, someone was being chased. Couldn't see much. Heard that get him. I saw a flash next to me. I jumped and remember thinking, I hope this is who they were talking about. 1
person killed. The victim who died identified as a Kansas City radio host, Lisa Lopez Galvin, a local DJ and mother of 2.
Today in Kansas City was a day to celebrate. We woke up this morning excited, and the last thing we ever expected was to have a tragedy in our family.
Among those wounded, multiple children, some as young as 8 years old.
The one word I would just use to describe what we saw and how they felt when they came to us was fear.
And authorities are still investigating a motive here, but sources close to this investigation tell ABC News the evidence so far points to this being a street crime and not politically motivated or connected to terrorism. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, Kansas City.